Okay, today, I wanted to create this video to talk about exact and approximate numbers and significant digits. These are a couple of concepts that do appear in Math 121 that you will need to be familiar with. So when we first start talking about numbers and we think about exact numbers and approximate numbers, we think of most of our numbers would be exact no matter what, but technically exact numbers are numbers that can be counted or are given by a definition. For example, if we wanted to know the number of students in a class, we can actually count those, and that is considered exact. If we are told that 12 inches equals 1 foot, those are exact. That is a definition. Okay. On the other hand, approximate numbers are not called approximate because we've actually rounded them. They're called approximate numbers because they were obtained using a tool of some sort. Examples of that would be the weight of an object, where we would have to use a scale to get that weight. The length of an object, where we would use a tape measure or ruler to get that length. So that's the difference in what we're calling exact numbers versus approximate numbers. For example, if we wanted to know, or if we did know, that a shipment contained 12 boxes weighing 18 pounds each, if we look at these two numbers, 12 boxes, we can count those, which means 12 would be an exact number. On the other hand, if we look at the fact that they weigh 18 pounds each, I can't count pounds. I have to weigh or measure with some type of scale. So therefore, that would be considered to be an approximate number. Okay. That's the difference in those. If it's something you can actually count, it's exact. If it has to be weighed or measured in any way, then it is approximate. Some other examples of approximate: using a thermometer to get the temperature, using a blood pressure cuff to get your blood pressure. Anything that uses a tool is considered to be approximate because it's very difficult to know to the exact decimal point how much something weighs or how long something is. Significant digits can be a confusing concept as well. Significant digits are digits in a number that are non-zero digits. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Any of those digits in a number are significant. Zeros that are at the end of a decimal and by that we mean if we have something like 0.32500, okay, these two zeros are at the end of a decimal. So here's our decimal point. Therefore, we would consider those zeros to be significant. And also, any zeros that are between any two non-zero digits. And by that we mean if we have something like 302.5009. This 0 is between this 3 and this 2, so it is significant. Both of these zeros are between this 5 and this 9, so they are significant. So that sounds like pretty much all our digits, 0 through 9, but there are some zeros that are not considered significant. Because they are only used for placement of a decimal. Those would be zeros at the end of a whole number like 32,000. These zeros are at the end of a whole number. They don't go in any of these three categories we already mentioned, so that means these zeros are not significant. Now, that doesn't mean we don't need them, but they're just not considered to be significant digits. The other zeros that are not considered significant are any zeros that appear at the beginning of a decimal number. Like 0.00032. All of these zeros, because they're at the beginning of this decimal number, doesn't mean that they're in front of, but if they start out a decimal number, then those zeros are not significant. So let's look at some numbers and see if we can figure out how many significant digits they have. Okay. How many significant digits are in the number 3,258? Well, that's not a zero, so it's significant. This is not a zero, it is significant. This is not a zero, this is not a zero. That means this has 4 significant digits. Okay, looking at 3,503,000. Automatically, these that are not zeros are significant because this 0 is between the 5 and the 3. That makes it significant. However, like we said, these zeros at the end of this decimal number are not considered significant. Therefore, this also has 4, and I'm going to start abbreviating it SIGDIGs. How about the number 0.0520? 520 10,000ths. Okay. So I know that zeros at the beginning of a decimal are not significant. I know that digits that are not zeros are automatically significant. So how about the 0 at the end of the decimal? Well, if it's at the end of the decimal, then yes, it is significant. So this particular number has 1, 2, 3 significant digits. And we most often use the fact for significant digits for rounding purposes. So therefore, you need to know what significant digits are, and you need to know your rounding process.